afternoon, young warriors. Coming to you from my kitchen. It's a rainy Monday, last week of school. Summertime's right around the corner, so here is a healthy summertime dish or two that you might try. It's made with a grain called quinoa. It looks like quinoa, but it's pronounced quinoa. As we studied in our nutrition unit, we looked at calories, protein, carbohydrate, sugar, dietary fiber, and fat. For 1 cup of cooked quinoa, it's approximately 200 calories, maybe a tidge more. The proteins are 4.4 grams of protein, 21 grams of carbohydrate, less than 1 gram of sugar, almost 3 grams of dietary fiber, which you're always trying to get around 3 grams of fiber per serving, and less than 2 grams of fat. So as you can see, it's a really nice, well-rounded grain. If you were going to compare that to quinoa to white rice, you will see that there is significantly more carbohydrate, not as much dietary fiber. The protein's about equal. So if you're looking to see what you could use your quinoa in, you can use it almost like a rice instead of white rice. You could try a quinoa to replace that. Some uses for quinoa. I like to use them in a cold salad, which we're going to make one of those here in a little bit. You can also add it to your protein shake if you have that, just to give it a little bit more dietary fiber. And that's the stuff that kind of keeps you filled up and full for a little bit longer so you don't get hungry. You can substitute it for white rice. You could use it in a stir fry, or you can make any kind of side dish. Most of the time when I cook with quinoa, I like to cook it and then I like to let it chill. And then I let that lets the grain firm up a little bit. It can be a little bit sticky right when it's finished cooking, so you want to give it a little time to cool down. But if you're going to have it with a side dish and you want it to be warm, then you could serve it right out of the pan. The 2 dishes we're going to try today, first one is a snack that I really enjoy. I just take a half a cup of vanilla yogurt, and then I take about 2 tablespoons of my chilled quinoa, and I just pop that in. And then I like to add in a half cup of blueberries. Mix it around. If you want it to be a little sweeter than that, you could add some honey or agave nectar or stevia or just some brown sugar or some raw sugar. I try to go a little bit more on the natural type of sugars instead of just a teaspoon of just white sugar. So this makes a really nice snack. It could be a good breakfast if you're looking for a little bit of a change. So that's one of the options that I like to use my quinoa for. The salad that we're going to prepare is it's just a quinoa, and this is 1 cup of cooked quinoa, which produces about 3.5 cups. And you want to take it and you just want to break it up a little bit after it's cooled. I always just get it out of the pan and stick it in the refrigerator and then just let it cool down. And then once it's cooled down, I like to break the clumps up. You can use a fork or a spoon, whatever utensil you want to use. To this, I've diced 1 red pepper. Just dump that in. 5 green onions, about 3/4 of a cup, in between a half and a full cup of cilantro. If you're not a fan of cilantro, I know a lot of people aren't, you could use just a flat Italian parsley or any kind of green. If you're feeling a little daring, you like a little bit of heat. I know Mr. Jilka likes heat because he likes to eat hot peppers. So does Mr. Means. You could easily chop up any kind of pepper. You can use yellow pepper. My thought is when I create a plate that I want to eat, I want to see color. So you will see that this will make a really pretty salad. You could use orange peppers, yellow peppers. You could use red onion instead of the green onions. You just want to toss it around a little bit, and then we're going to make our it's called a simple dressing, because in a simple dressing, all you need is an acid, like a fruit juice or a vinegar. So you could use any kind of vinegar, wine vinegar, rice vinegar, any kind of vinegar, cider. But I really enjoy just lemon juice for my dressings. Sometimes I'll get a little crazy and do some lime juice with it also. The seasonings that I'm going to use are tarragon, turmeric, cayenne, and I need to grab the salt and pepper. I forgot to do that. So I'm going to grab the salt and pepper real fast. Into the lemon juice, you want to go just half and half of your juice and your oil. I prefer a light or just an extra virgin olive oil. So I've got about 2 ounces of lemon juice, which is just 1 lemon. And you just squeeze it. You're going to put just a little bit of salt. Don't overdo the salt. You can always add more later. Just a little bit of salt. Some fresh cracked pepper. And notice I don't really measure too much on this. I wouldn't overdo it. Again, you can always add more seasoning. You can't take it out. So kind of be careful on that. I love cooking with cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper is so good for your digestive system. It's good for your heart. But again, you don't want to go too heavy. That was a little bit a healthy dose of it, but it's a big salad, so you're safe to do that. You want to do about the same amount, 2 or 3 shakes of the turmeric, which I would say is about a half teaspoon. And I've kind of been cooking with tarragon. I've cooked with it before, and then I kind of took a break from it, so I'm kind of back to it again. It's a little milder than oregano, which is in a lot of Italian foods. I would just give it about a half teaspoon to a teaspoon of that as well. Then you want to get your whisk or your fork, and you want to incorporate it. Just mix it up. It's called emulsifying. It's a big word, but that's what the chefs call it. You're emulsifying your dressing. You want to get it nice and mixed up so that you really can't see the separation of the lemon juice and the oil. Once you have that, it takes about 30 seconds. You're good. And that is your simple dressing. Remember, in our nutrition unit, we talked about a lot of times those dressings, they sneak a bunch of sugar. Even if they say it's a light dressing, don't be fooled. They add a lot of sugar into the dressing. So always take a look at that, especially if you're kind of watching what you're trying to eat. And so you just pour it over the top. Set that off to the side. And then you mix it up. I like to make this and just keep it in the refrigerator for a quick lunch. If I have some turkey, I might chop up the turkey into manageable pieces. You can use this as a garnish. You can put it into a wrap. You could have like a tortilla and some meat, and then use that as a little bit of an additional bit of food into your sandwich. You can do it on the side. I like to open a can of tuna and then just put some tuna on top in another bowl. And then if you're maybe a griller, if you guys like to grill, you can grill your protein. It can be a fish, a pork chop, a chicken, even a steak. You could cut that into small strips, lay this down on your plate, and then you could just have that as your meal. So from here, this is what the salad looks like. And after it's nice and mixed up, I like to let it sit in the fridge for a good hour before I eat it. But I always like to want to, take a little test of it just to see if it turned out okay. And let me grab a spoon. Perfect. So I hope you guys give this a chance. It's a bit interesting. I use the Dillon's brand. It's a tricolored quinoa, and I hope that you enjoyed our second Cooking with the Coach. I'll try to squeeze one in before the end of the year about the sweet potato. Peace. Stay well. See you soon.